Look, welcome to this explainer. If you are here looking for participation trophies, empty compliments, or maybe the secret to going viral with some flashy crossover that ultimately just results in a turnover, you're in the wrong place. Today we're unpacking the source material behind the hardcourt doctrine. This is an absolute masterclass in building better basketball players, and the philosophy we're digging into is direct, it's honest, and yeah, it comes with a deliberate edge. We're throwing out the fluff. We are focusing strictly on real development through real examples. We're going to break down the exact methods you need to strip away the illusions of modern training and build players who actually know how to win. So lace up, we have a lot of ground to cover.
Let's dive right into the absolute bedrock of this entire doctrine. Work ethic matters more than talent. I know, it sounds like a total cliche, but in this context, it's a mathematical certainty. Modern basketball culture is just completely obsessed with natural gifts. We constantly hear about wingspan, vertical leaps, raw talent. But the source material makes it incredibly clear. Talent is literally just a starting line. And quite frankly, it's highly overrated if it's not backed up by relentless grit. You can have a 7-foot wingspan, sure, but if your work ethic is fundamentally broken, you are going to get cooked by the undersized gym rat who treats practice like a construction site. Hard work isn't just about sweating. It's about the consistency of showing up when the cameras are off, executing all those boring details, and outlasting the guy who's relying solely on his genetics.
All right, Section 1. Hard work beats talent. Discarding the fluff.
Let's just be brutally honest for a second. Social media has tricked an entire generation of players into thinking a 10-second mixtape, you know the ones, complete with a heavy rap beat and zero actual defense, is a basketball career. It is a complete illusion. Highlight plays are rare, they're flashy, and almost always totally disconnected from the fundamental skills required to actually win a basketball game. You might get 1 million views for throwing the ball off the backboard, but your coach is absolutely going to bench you for blowing a defensive rotation. The doctrine demands that we value real development over pretty aesthetics. Because real development, it's unglamorous, it's sweaty, it's highly repetitive, and it rarely looks good on a smartphone camera. It looks like missing 50 game speed floaters in an empty gym until your legs are literally burning. But that ugly, frustrating process is the only thing that actually builds a player who can perform when the lights turn on.
Moving on to Section 2. Master your actual strengths. Stop fixing everything.
For decades, players have been fed this soft coaching myth of the perfectly well-rounded game. So they spend hundreds of hours trying to fix every tiny flaw, desperately trying to eliminate every single weakness. And you know what spending hundreds of hours fixing every tiny flaw actually gets you? It makes you perfectly, painfully mediocre at absolutely everything. Congratulations! You have a passable Euro step and a decent floater, but you aren't a threat to anyone on the floor. The source material flips this entirely on its head. To be a true weapon, you have to double down on what you are actually good at. If you're a shooter, please do not spend 90% of your time trying to become a flashy point guard. Become an elite, unguardable, automatic shooter. Yes, obviously address glaring weaknesses so you aren't a total liability, but your primary focus has to be sharpening your primary weapons until they are lethal. That is how you stay on the court. You force the defense to react to your undeniable strength.
Section 3. Game-based learning wins. Embrace the chaos.
The doctrine definitively states that game-based learning destroys scripted drills. Why? Well, because cones don't play defense. Scripted drills are robotic illusions of progress. You feel like an all-star because you just hit 10 shots in a row under zero pressure, knowing exactly where the pass is coming from, against imaginary defenders who never close out. It feels great, but it's a lie. Real basketball is chaotic, it's unpredictable, and it requires split-second decision-making. Game-based learning forces you to adapt in real time. Reading the floor, managing the shot clock, reacting to live bodies trying to rip the ball away from you. Practice should be messy. Practice should involve mistakes. If your workout looks like a perfectly choreographed dance routine, you're preparing for a recital, not a basketball game. You have to embrace the chaos, because that's where real, transferable development actually happens.
All right, Section 4. The anatomy of defense. Mathematical effort.
If you think defense is too complex, we're going to demystify it right now. It's 2 steps. Nose to shoulder, butt to wall. That's it. It's not about having elite fast-twitch muscles, it's about sheer, non-negotiable geometry. You dictate the space on the court. You put your nose to their shoulder to physically cut off their driving angle. Then you drop your butt to the wall, meaning getting low and establishing an immovable, wide base so they can't bully you backward. These are simple, executable instructions that literally anyone can follow. If you can follow basic physical directions, you can play lockdown defense. It completely exposes anyone who claims defense is some dark art reserved for elite athletes. It's not. It is leverage and it is willpower.
So here is the ultimate formula. Defense is strictly positioning plus effort. That's the whole shebang. If you are getting blown by, you aren't lacking talent. You're either standing in the wrong place or you are simply being outworked. We are dropping the excuses right here, right now. Failing on defense is a choice. You either chose to ignore the angles or you chose to stand up straight because your legs got tired. If you give the effort and you learn the positioning we just discussed, you will stop your opponent. The math does not lie. Stop relying on reach-ins and gambles and start relying on the hard, punishing geometry of keeping your man in front of you.
Bringing us to Section 5, a warning to parents, the accountability check.
I want you to pause for a second and ask yourself right now, is your player actually improving? Not, are they having fun? Not, is the trainer a super nice guy who posts cool Instagram clips of the workouts? If you're paying for training and month after month, the in-game results are exactly the same, you are funding a vanity project. You're paying premium prices for glorified babysitting with a whistle. You have to hold the process accountable. Real trainers want to be judged by their players' in-game impact, not how tired the kid looks after an hour of jumping over hurdles. If actual, measurable improvement isn't happening on the court, the system is broken and you need to demand better. Stop paying for the illusion of work.
Now, when you build players the right way, demanding that hard work and exposing all the fluff, and you document it transparently, you can turn real, gritty content into a legitimate income stream. This is the blueprint for creating a sustainable platform, like a YouTube channel, that actually teaches basketball the truth. No shortcuts, no pandering. When you run a program this honestly, it creates an ecosystem where literally everyone wins. The players get better because they're forced to do the hard things. Parents get an actual return on their money because they see real in-game results. And the trainer? They build an empire based on truth, undeniable value, and trust, rather than just selling highlight illusions that evaporate under pressure.
So the blueprint is right here. You know that work ethic trumps talent. You know to master your strengths, demand game-based chaos over scripted comfort, and rely on defensive geometry instead of making excuses. The only question left is, are you going to put down your phone, pick up a basketball, and put in the unglamorous, gritty work required to be great? Or are you just going to keep scrolling? Get to the gym.